We are live. Welcome, everybody, to another beautiful day. One thing at a time. This is the word today. One thing at a time, one step at a time. Why is that? You see, sometimes we have lots of irons in the fire. Sometimes we have lots of iron in the fire, lots of irons in the fire. And we're juggling things, and we're doing this, and we're doing that, and doing this, and the next. And then you're like, but wait, why didn't that one turn out this way? See, the funny thing is, even when you're walking and you're using two legs, you can still, even if you hop, even if you jump, it is still one at a time. One. And that one is really important. One step. If we would take that one step at a time, it relieves overwhelm, right? It relieves overwhelm. Does that make sense? Because sometimes we think, oh, if I do this and I do that and I do this. But the problem with scattering the self is that we lose momentum. Scattering yourself makes you lose momentum. When you have a singular focus, it does not mean, well, that won't get done or this won't get done. It means when you're doing it, it'll get done exceptionally well because that is where you are focused upon. I'll give you another example. I say to my boy, can you tidy up your room? So he takes one thing up and he looks at it and he's like, oh, this is interesting. And he plays. And I'm like, but dude, come on. This is why it takes you so long. That's what happens with us. We get distracted by the glitz and the things and the accomplishing of things. And when we get distracted, we take away from the task at hand. Stay focused, stay faithful to the task at hand. Not, how can you do it faster? Becoming more efficient simply means you did the task at hand and then you got an idea. So that the next time you have to do it, oh, well, if I do this, well, this is nice. So you see, one destination at a time. People say, well, how can I manifest more things as one? Neville gave the perfect example of it. If you see yourself in a state of bliss, a state of ease, well, nothing can possibly be going wrong if you are in that state. And when I say wrong, I mean, really big things. Because in order to remain in that state, that's up to you now. When you call that state up and say, you know what? This is nice. This is great. I'm at ease. I have inner peace. And it doesn't matter what may come along, because you will discover that it is not the thing that causes you to be a certain way. It is you. What's his name? The comedian Michael Epps, I think it is. He said something interesting. He said he used to chase the bag, back in the day. And then he realized after he started to get more money and more money, he says, ugh, it's just money, man. I can't take it with me, and I'm just piling it up so somebody else can have it. And so he realized the same thing that Andrew Tate realized, the same thing that we eventually will realize. It doesn't matter how many things that are accumulated. The things don't bring the inner peace. Because think about it this way for a minute. If you didn't have inner peace and you had all the money and all the friends and all the fame and the affluence, and you were still dissatisfied, was it the money? Was it the fame? No, it was one thing. Your perspective. You. You were the one who said, I am. And you became. That's what it is. So sometimes when we find ourselves rushing and running around and scrambling and trying to do this and trying to do that, even think about how that just felt to you to hear it. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Oh. Not only does it overwhelm, but it drains. So take your time today to recognize, I have this thing I'm doing right now. I will give this thing my complete attention. Believe me. When we try and do too many things, something in the bunch is going to suffer. Because you cannot give it your undivided attention. Undivided attention, focus, is the power. The longer you stay focused and give something your attention, the more momentum it picks up. The more momentum, the more magnetism. The more magnetism, the faster that thing materializes. But if you're busy over here and over there and over there, oh, you are but one person. One thing is done at a time. It may look like you're doing many things. No, just distraction. This is why multitasking is, as I say, of the devil. It distracts. Oh, but Angela, that's the thing now. That's the thing on your resume. Can you multitask? My response usually is yes, I can, but I choose not to. If you want a job done well, you will focus until it is completed. And then you find that the sensation that you have in your body upon completion of that task is one of satisfaction, a job well done, an accomplishment, as opposed to, oh, shoot, I didn't do that one. I didn't finish that one. I didn't even start that. And what happens? It creates some anxiety. It creates chaos. So today, let us remember to do one thing at a time. Confucius did say, everything gets done, but nature, she takes her time. Everything gets done, yet she takes her time. When we take our time to focus, we begin to see patterns, we recognize things, and we see a faster, more efficient, yet effective way of doing a thing. We just, because you're spending the time there, you begin to see what we call shortcuts. But they aren't shortcuts. You're streamlining the process. You're making it flow more efficiently. You're removing the redundancies from it. So one thing at a time. And when you do it, think about that for a moment. What did you do when you got up? Before you got out of your bed, what did you do? Did we call somebody? Did we text? Did we check our phone? Did we? And then all of a sudden the mind is like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this. See? What if, when you open your eyes, you just simply said, where am I beginning right now? I'm starting from a place of where? Peacefulness. If we start there, with that one thing, all other things flow smoothly, beautifully. You're not missing out. Don't they have a term for that? FOMO, fear of missing out? What are you missing out on? You see, when we start doing things like that, when we think, oh, but if I do this over here, I'm going to miss that, or I'm going to miss this, then what did that feel like? See what the body says to you right there? You felt it. Ooh, I don't like that knot in my belly. I don't like that anxious feeling. Exactly. And it's rather interesting how science looks at things. It is, because the way the body is designed, it is designed, right, to repeat things and to do those repeated things on autopilot. This is just how it's designed. So if you don't tell it what you want it to do, if you don't say, listen, we're going to do one task at a time. If an idea pops into your head, just jot it down and go back to the task at hand. But don't engage that other idea. Because when you engage the other idea, now you've got two irons in the fire, and then something gets missed over here, something gets missed over there. Make it the goal to keep the body in a state of ease. Why ease? Michelangelo, when he carved David, he carved him in such a way he was on the balls of his feet so that he could go in any direction he chose from that position. Contrapposto, I think is the word, where you can pivot in any direction. But ease is the central focus. Because from that point, from that stance, you can now say, I will choose here or I will choose there. But notice only one choice is being made. One thing. I'm stressing it to you today because one thing is incredible. When you do that one thing, this is the discipline. Remember, discipline is teaching, learning, and applying. So when you do one thing and you do it well, you say, oh, this person's so good at that. Of course they are. They practiced that one thing day in and day out. But you notice what that does for them. Being disciplined in one area, you strengthen yourself to be disciplined in all areas. Why? It's not the area that matters. It is the person who is disciplined that matters. So if you develop one thing about yourself, it is the ability to start something and complete it. One thing at a time. The running around all these different activities, well, that's great. But when you're in an activity, that's where the mind is. We have a fancy way for that, don't we? We call it living in the now. Because when you're doing the thing that you're doing, be engaged fully in it. You are your best when you are fully engaged in that activity. You are your best. You're giving it your all. And what happens when you give it your all? You get the all back. Excellence comes out of it. But so many times, we are tempted to be mediocre. We're just tempted to be average. Well, I'll just get as much done. No. Start the task. Finish the task. You start another task, and you finish that task. We look at it as though it's this burden, but in actuality, that discipline is key. Because you are telling your body, you are training it. Remember how you feel, because that's what's going on, how you feel inside your body when you complete the task at hand. When you finish your chores, for lack of a better phrase, it feels great. You're like, oh, I did that. How nice. And it feels good. And then you move on to something else. But you see, sometimes we procrastinate. We start this thing over here. We say, oh, I can come back to that. And what happens? 3 other things arise and you don't get back to that one thing that you started. Practicing, starting, and finishing the task at hand builds discipline. It builds integrity. It builds trust, reliability. It means when you say yes, you let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you find that you want to say, well, perhaps another time, this has to do with being honest with the self. If you're focused on that one thing and you say, when someone comes and says, oh, can you help me? You say, 1 moment, please. Let me finish this. Oh, but I need it right now. You see? And that's usually what happens too. A sense of urgency. Oh, I must have it now. It must be done now. Well, there is only now. So how do you deal with that? You say, 1 moment, please. Let me finish this, and then I can give you my what? My undivided attention. It prevents resentment. Because if you don't finish what it is you started, and you're busy helping somebody else because you didn't finish, but you complete their task, then you are too tired to do yours. Why does that happen to me? Why am I always helping somebody else and nobody helps me? I'm always tired. Finish what you start. Always. Because what happens to you when you do it? You look at yourself and you say, hey, I am reliable. I am reliable. Now you stop questioning your own validity. Well, am I worthy? Am I this? Am I that? You don't know what all those things are, but you do know what you are. You can look at any situation and say, hey, you know what? I am reliable. I am trustworthy. I have integrity. How can you say that of yourself? Because when you start, you finish. It builds your confidence one action at a time. This is why if you're doing something and you do not understand, if it doesn't make sense, because you're in the thick of it, ask for guidance so that you know what to do, so that it is explained to you. But when you stop doing what you're doing because, oh, this is too hard, I can't figure it out, well then, will you go back to it? You won't, because you'll say, well, that's too hard. And it's not that it's difficult, it's just that perhaps you didn't comprehend the instructions. And because you didn't comprehend the instructions and you didn't go back and ask for assistance and you didn't finish it and you put it to the side, you're like, oh my God, I feel so foolish. How come I don't get things? Well, because of the unfinished task. So you see what it does to us when we don't complete the task? We're left feeling less than. We're left feeling unworthy. When in actuality, you are not. You just didn't finish the task. But because that sensation in the body says to you, oh, see, you didn't finish. Look at that. You can't be relied upon. And you become anxious. You begin to fret. You think, I'm being judged. Everybody's watching me. Then in actuality, that is not the case. Finish what you start, because it does way more than you think it does. It has far more reaching effects. Your confidence grows, your integrity of self, your surety of self. All those things come out of starting and finishing. And what is that sensation in the body? You have a skip in your step because you're like, yes, I finished that. I feel accomplished. And then you know what happens? Nobody can come along to you and say, you know, I just can't trust you. You say one thing, but you do another. Nobody can say that to you. Do you know why? Because you're not saying it to yourself. Because you finished what you started. That one task you completed. One. And you built your confidence one task at a time. One thing. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the people in the space. Twitter. Shea Butter. I called your name yesterday. I sure did. Tiffany, Javion, welcome to the space. Jeff, hi. Queen Rat, thank you for being here in the Twitter sphere today. Fanbase, Miss McQueen, El Zola, Jamea, Summer Rose, Matthias, Amanda, Shanice, Yolanda. I'm now sliding these things to see who's here. Can you take the crown, please, Yolanda? Yes. Oh, thank you. There. Let's see who's here in YouTube. Be Royalty, welcome. Sonia, Queen Marat, my omnipresent darling. Sinovia, the better man. Oh, LCMM. I've never said those initials before. Hello. Let's see. Amanon, I see you. David. A-Not. Ooh, A-Not. I'm so excited because today is testimony day. Wealthy Supreme Cyber, welcome to the space. So, I'll just get you to mute your mic for me, please, darling Amanda. Cassie. Oh. Okay. Bear with me. So remember today that as we do things, do one thing at a time. It removes confusion. It removes frustration. Oh, indeed, it does. Because think about it, if you're running around and you've got this, that, and the next and the third, oh, I know that just made me feel a little anxious, just saying it that way, with so many irons in the fire. Right? It will help you if you practice staying focused on the task at hand. It may not seem that way in the beginning because you feel like, oh, but I have this and I should be doing that. I could. One thing at a time will remove frustration. It will. Imagine if you were delegating a task to someone and you finish telling that person what that task is, and then you say, wait, there's another. What is helpful to do is to give that delegated task and then a to-do list. And even if you look at your to-do list, do you not just do one thing on that list and cross it off? Did you do 3? One thing removes overwhelm because you know what that feels like in your body and you don't like it. So this is the encouragement today. You see, when we get distracted and we're busy looking at this person and that person, saying, well, you see, they seem to be much more efficient. How come they can do so many things? They're not doing so many things. It looks that way from the outside. From the outside, it appears that they're doing more than one thing. Oh, look at how many businesses they've got on the go. They're an entrepreneur. They've learned and they have practiced the art of discipline and focus so that it does not matter which task they pick up. They have to put one down and continue on with the other. They just make it look effortless because over time, when you practice being singularly focused on one thing, you develop the skill of, what I want to say that word. You develop the skill of ease because you can look at a situation and see the best way to do it. Why? Because you started and you finished something else many times. So that's why that person can look as though they're doing many things. But if you look at them and you compare yourself, what happens to you? You begin to feel, oh, shoot, they're so much better than me. You begin to feel a sense of inadequacy. Comparison is death. Just so you know, you're not meant to compare yourself to anyone else. Now, Neville Goddard gave you a way of doing it. He said if you're going to look at somebody's life and want it, look at the mind of that person to see why they accomplished what they accomplished. Don't just look at the glitz that they have. What kind of mindset do they have? Are they driven? Are they focused? This is how you look at things. We don't compare and say, well, they're better. No. What do you think makes them better? Their ability to focus. So then what do? Develop your focus. You don't, and here's the thing, comparison and judgment. If you compare yourself to someone, you look at that situation, you look at that person, you say, okay, I may not have started where they started, but I like their attitude. I like how dependable they are. Oh, well, then I would like to become more dependable. And then what do? Finish what you start. You become dependable. But if you look at somebody and say, well, they're better than me, well, now you've judged yourself as inadequate. And well, we all know what happens with inadequacy. It becomes this giant stumbling block that we can't get past. So if you're going to look at somebody, look at their mind. Look at their mind and the good that you see in them, in their mind. You say, I could do this. This is how children learn. They observe. They watch. And they imitate behaviors. This is what we do. We learn it there and we continue doing it. Okay. Sometimes that happens with internet. Let me know if you guys if it's still clear, because it breaks up sometimes with internet connection. So I trust that these things make sense to us today, because I know from experience that sometimes when we look at a situation and we feel overwhelmed, you just have to do one thing. If that means you're walking down the street and you feel in your body, I'm a little worried today. What is one thing as per polarity? Polarity says, that's how you feel now. Is that how you want to continue feeling? See, the law is always guiding you one step at a time, one thing at a time. And polarity says, you're here. And you say, yes, I would prefer to be there. Well, then there's a step to take. How many? One. If that means, you know what? I'm just going to feel a little bit better today. I'm going to find one thing to appreciate today. One thing. If I can't find one thing to appreciate in myself, I will see what I can appreciate with my eyes. What can I see around me that I can appreciate? One thing. And from that one thing, you lift your mood. You see where it all comes back to? This is why we practice on a daily basis. There's no escape from the practice. The more you practice, the better you get. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you, because there is not anything wrong with you in the least bit. You have been perfectly made. Perfection. However, habits. Are they perfect for you? Is that one that you've been doing so long ago, is that still beneficial? If it helped you survive, well, you're thriving now. So those two things can't be in the same space, because you don't need to survive anymore. You're thriving. So that means you now get to change something. One thing you get to change. You see how simple that is? The law is simple. Think it. Confirm the sensation in your body. over an extended amount of time to magnetize yourself. That's why you have to stay, as Neville calls it, in the state. Oh, but I find it so hard. I find it so hard to stay in the state. That's one thing you've got to do. One thing is to keep that sensation in your body. Because the longer you keep the sensation in your body of what you want to feel like, you're magnetizing your situation. And then it is only a matter of polarization and vibration that you get to encounter it. But that's why you stay with that singular sensation. One singular sensation. See? One sensation can be felt. And if you choose the right one, because it's the one you want, then you can stay, you can lean on that, you can polarize yourself there. I tell you, keeping your room tidy, keeping your mind tidy, has the exact effect you want it to have in the outside world. Because put it together now. If you cannot choose your thought to stay focused upon, even though you already are, the thought that comes up the most, that's where you're focused, that's where you're polarized. You're doing it already, but just on autopilot. But if you take the reins and you say, I'm going to do it this way, I will hold this thought, keeping your space tidy, keeping your car tidy, keeping the sidewalk tidy. It doesn't matter what you keep tidy. What matters is you started to do it and you maintain it. One area of starting and completion ripples outward into all areas that you start and now you finish. That is what you're doing. So, oh man, I gotta clean my room. Yes. Look at how far that one action will take you. But because we can't see the significance of tidy space, tidy mind, tidy life, we can't see it all at the big picture, but we see it one piece, one step at a time, one thing at a time. So today, as you go about your day, practice starting and bringing something to completion. That's what we start, and that's what we finish. There's a reason. But the reason becomes clear the more faithful you are to start and finish. Do it because it feels incredible to your body when you do it. That's why you do it. There's a sense of inner peace when you do it, accomplishment when you do it. That right there, that sensation in the body, that sigh of relief, then you do it and you maintain it over time. Now that becomes your way of living. That's why we live the way we live now, because we did something incessantly. We did it over and over and over again, and now we live it. So you see how far-reaching it is. That one thing that you start and finish every time will drive your life experiences. Just that one tiny thing. So today, it will always present itself to you. Nothing stays hidden. It will always present itself to you. That is law. It will present itself to you by way of the same thought over and over, the same action over and over, the same words over and over. And when you see the thing that keeps repeating itself, when you see the pattern. If you are dissatisfied with the pattern, choose the new pattern you would like to create. And because you've spent time practicing finishing what you start, you will do the actions of that new pattern until the new pattern becomes the old pattern. This is what we do. And we are always doing it. We are. But now let's do it with full awareness of knowing what you're doing. Because it will teach you who you are. Hey, Manon, you were going to go clean your car today? See? But this is the beauty. And that's just what I wanted to encourage you with today. Because as my dad always says, you rush the brush, you waste the paint. So if you take your time, you dip the brush, you wipe it on the side, and you apply your strokes nice and evenly and stay focused, that wall will be perfection. Yes. This is just, I hope you get a sense of it today and you feel it today and you comprehend it. But most importantly, that you apply it. Apply it. And it goes, as I said before, when you're delegating a task to someone, just delegate one thing at a time. Clean your room. Well, we know it's messy, but where would you like them to start? Because if you delegate where you want them to start, you remove the overwhelm from them. Always start at the bottom. If the floor is messy, you can't walk on it. So whatever is not supposed to be on the floor, put it in its rightful place. And when they start there, this is how you train the young ones. This is how we teach them. You start with the thing that's in your way the most. If you can't put your foot down in a clean spot, start there. Then we move from there to the next level. It applies to our entire existence. I trust this made sense to you today because I understand. My bestie, she saw it. She says you get overwhelmed when you have so many things to do. She's like, you got to put things here. You got to do this here. You got to interact more here. You got to do that there. I'm like, there's so many places to be at once. That's what it felt like. But I got out my pencil and paper. And I wrote down, okay, how many platforms am I on? That's where it starts. Recognition. Where are you? Okay. What do you want each platform to know? How many characters do you have on each platform? Now you can start to see. And then by the time you've written all that out, then you say frequency, time, weekly, daily, and you assign something to each platform. Now all of a sudden, what was, you have to engage more, you have to post more content, that was so overwhelming. You take it and you do one thing. Organize it. So when I speak to you today, I speak to you from experience because I understand how easy it is to become overwhelmed. But if we start with one thing, we complete that one thing and we gain a sense of accomplishment. And then you begin to see more patterns and things become simpler. All with applying the law. Causation. Countdown. Initiated. 5, 4, 3. Today at, is it 3:45 Eastern Standard? I do believe it is. Testimony time. And believe me, they are popping, these testimonies. They're absolutely awesome. That's today on YouTube, 3:45. I do believe there's a link there for notifying me if you see the upcoming things. It's important that we share our accomplishments. Because what may be big to you may be small to somebody else. What may be small to you may be big to somebody else. But that's not why we share. We share to encourage each other that all things are possible if we apply the law. I don't know. I'm going to share one, Matthias. Oh, yes. I don't know if y'all saw his commercial for Dr. Pepper. But Matthias applied the law. Matthias applied the law. And now he's doing more and more of what he loves. I don't know how it unfolded. I just know it was something he loves doing. And he did not consume himself with, I don't know how. No, he stuck to the course. He said, I will do what I love. And as he did what he loved, more opportunities opened themselves. So Matthias, today at 3:30 or 3:45, if you have time, pop by and share that with us, please, and thank you. If you have time, or you can record it. Either way, kudos. So you see, apply the law. Apply it and use it. And begin to do that one single thing. And then look at the far-reaching effects of it. I bet you that feels good in your chest, doesn't it? You accomplished, Matthias. So what is it that you can't do now? Yeah, that's what it does for you. When you accomplish one thing, you boost your own morale and you say, oh, I can. And when you start, because we're human, right? And we begin to have even a sliver of doubt. You put your foot down and you say, no. You see, I did it over there. And I did it over there. And I did it over there. I can do it here because I follow the law. And the law is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I know the outcome every single time. This is what we do. 2, 1. Twitter, I love you. And I will see you again. Watch out for that testimony time today. And oh, I just remembered, 2190 challenge starts March the 1st. That is going to be 3.5 months. It's 3.5 months of just doing it and doing it and doing it well. Create the habit in 21 days, and then you fortify your lifestyle in 90 days. Because you can. You start, you finish. Now, why are we doing it in a group? Where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Who's the I am? You. Your success is guaranteed. Well, start claiming it. That's what we do. So begin to think about that new habit you would like to create. Because we'll meet on whichever platform the subscribers are on, fan base. I'll open a room here for subscribers only. YouTube will be members only, and Patreon. That's how we'll do it. Because if we're focused, if you come and you're focused and I'm focused and we're all focused, we get it done. That's why we keep the distractions at a minimum. So that's what we're doing. Twitter is now closed. Fan base. Get that hands-free. I look forward to seeing you all there for that 3.5 months. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, I sure am. And so I We'll see you there. I knew I remembered that beautiful face. And I say her name quite often. Miss Kelly. I knew it. Anywho, my beautiful friends on Fanbase. I didn't post it there, did I? Shoot. Your girl is learning. I'll post it there today. All right, Fanbase. I love you, and I'll see you soon. All right. YouTube. It's us, because Fanbase is closed. Let me do that. So now both my hands are free. Yes. LCMM. Thank you for being here, because I remember you saying that you're new. Well, how did you find us? Because you're new. How did you hear about us? And Pens, I see you too. David. And B Royalty, I see you. And there's Sonia. The Better Man. Synovia. Yes, I'm so looking forward to that, because on YouTube you found us here. Wow. Well, thank you for joining and being a part of the conversation today. I trust you found it helpful. This is what we do Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do it. Yeah. So the importance of follow through. You never caught her live. Well, I usually post the link because I set it up, I schedule it so that I don't have to remember to do it. So every time I end the broadcast here, I start a new one in the schedule before I get out of the program, is what I do. Because it's just simpler to do it that way. Thank you, Ana. So yes, I give you these examples of starting and finishing because they're important. Because I know how they feel. I don't even know how many auditions I did yesterday. I have no idea. But I heard back from a few people, and it's nice. And one gave instruction on what she wanted it to sound more like. And I said, "Ooh, this is nice." Why? Because she has to get the image from her mind into mine. So she has to project that to me. She has to teach me what it is she wants a particular thing to sound like. Right? So you do your auditions, you do, you do your things, you start, you finish. Yeah, David? Yes, I I was with Lance yesterday. Lance Scurv, I was with him yesterday. I'm gonna have to figure out how to add him as a channel under mine here so that people can get a hold of him. He has great content, and every Monday we get together and we do Bible stories by way of the law, so people can use those stories that we grew up with in our childhood with the law and be more effective with them. That's what we do on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. I love it. I truly look forward to doing Mondays, on Lance's channel, because I love the Bible stories. You are so welcome, LCMM. It is a privilege and a pleasure to have you here in the space. And Pens is waving. Hey, Pens. I get to know you guys every single day, more and more. And that's why I look forward to the testimonies today. Because if you want to be on, because then let me know, slide into my DMs, and I will send you the link for it so that You can join, because I'm taking one person at a time so that they can have that space to share. And then when they're done, I'll click on your link and you come up and you share. That's how we're going to be doing it, tandem like that. And so I'm just eager to have you guys share and have it be an edification and an encouragement to the rest of us. So that when we start the 2190, right, we are inspired and invigorated, because we have to follow through. Wealthy Supreme, you are most welcome. And thank you for being a member on the YouTube channel. Yes. So I'm learning right along with you, trying to make things as streamlined as possible so that we flow better. And so I just, LCMM, you know what? We all do. Yes. But you won't have that problem anymore, because now when you start something, you see, I did the same thing. I asked that same question. 2190. It takes 21 days to create a new habit. And from that 21-day habit that you just created, you take the next 90 days and you do that habit for those 90 days, and it becomes your automatic way of living, your autopilot, your lifestyle. So that's what we'll be doing. We choose what that thing is we want to do. What is that habit we want to create? I'm glad you asked, actually. We choose what that habit is we want to create. What is it? Do you want to meditate more? What do you want to do? You decide that. And one of the best ways I found is, what's been bugging you the most? It will show itself. It will show it. It'll poke you and say, hey, this. So whatever that thing is that's been bothering you the most, I'll help you. We'll do it through polarity. You see where you are and you see where you want to be. Now, in between that space, there are steps that you have to take. And that's what we'll be doing. For instance, if you say, well, I want to start a meditative practice, you're going to have to choose the best time for yourself. And you will choose the duration. So you say every Monday, so every day at 6 a.m. And you set your reminder in your phone every day at 6 a.m. for 10 minutes. That now for 21 days, every day at 6 a.m. for 10 minutes for 21 days. At the end of 21 days, so day 22, you continue every day at 6 a.m. for 10 minutes. And your body will do something absolutely magnificent. You see, by day 22, chances are it'll be sooner. You will get up, or your body will start to calm itself before 6. In that time before 6 o'clock, your body will start to calm itself down to get into the meditative state, because you are training it every day at 6 a.m. for 10 minutes. That's what you're doing. So it doesn't matter. So if you say, I want to be able to read books, you want to pick up a book and read it as opposed to an audiobook. It doesn't matter. Even if it's an audiobook, you say, well, I want to be able to finish this book. You say every day at what time? This is the action that I will do. But it must be every day, same time, same duration. Because you're creating consistency. Cyber, what a beautiful question. How do you kill the reluctance or laziness that keeps you from starting the new way of living? The desire to change has to be stronger than the desire to remain the same. And so when you say, you know what, this is what I want for myself. So again, let's go back to the example of same day. So every day, the same time, same duration of time. You know what's coming. That's how you overcome the quote unquote laziness. It's not that you're lazy, it's that you've been doing something else. That's all it means. So now you choose the activity. So you say, you know what, I want to go to the gym. Okay. You're going to go to the gym every day at the same time for the same length of time. So it doesn't matter if you're going to do leg day, shoulders, lats, doesn't matter. You go to the gym every day at the same time for the same length of time. So I spend half an hour in the gym. This is what I mean when I say you have to sit down and think about what is your level of commitment that you want to give. I say start small because then it's not overwhelmed. You can always add to it. Because you'll get the desire to add. Oh, you will, because it feels good. So you'll get the desire to add more. But then the other example is if you say, you know what? After every meal, we tidy up the kitchen. Every single time. So that's every day. It doesn't matter what you're doing in that kitchen. When you leave it, it's tidy. Every single day or every time that you are in the kitchen. Why? Because that's one of my rules. I live by it. I do not go to bed with dishes in the sink. I will not. If I'm sitting here, listen, even if I fell asleep, I get up and I go get them done. Because that is my habit now. That is my lifestyle. I don't leave it messy at all. You wipe the counters down, you wipe out the sink, you're good to go. And I sweep the floor. But that means you've got to become consistent. Right? And consistency is built when you start and you finish. Well, LCMM, one thing at a time. Right? When you say that question, when you ask that question, can you build more than one habit at a time? I'm sure it is possible. I'm sure it is. But you've got to be organized. That means your day starts at a particular time every time, same time. And then you say, okay, because you know how if you have kids, you got to get them to school, right? If you have to get the kids to school, they have to be at school the same time every day. So you've got to have the same bedtime so that you can wake up on time. So do you see the habits? You can do more than one habit. You get that list out and you say, okay, this is what happens to your room every week. You can do more than one habit, but you have to have it organized. So that's where we will spend the time in the beginning, because we'll do that live, right? And we'll talk about everybody's thing. So here, let me. I was typing. Don't worry. I'll put that here. So email me the habit you would like to create. And then we will talk about each person's habit and say, okay, well, here are the steps. We go back and forth till we flesh it out. Because then once you do that, take some time and think about it. There's no rush, there really isn't. Take your time and think about that, what you want that habit to be. And think about your level of commitment. Being honest with self is key here. That's what it is. You start, okay, look, I'm going to dedicate this amount of time. So every day I'm going to do this. Every day I'm going to do this at this time. That's what it is. Yes, Synovia. You see, LCMM, yeah, there's certain disciplines that happen. The more you do them, right? certain disciplines. Because now when you go in the kitchen, you start fresh. You don't have to take care of what was supposed to be there. My father always said, why put off for tomorrow what you can do for today? Get it done. As long as it's in your mind today, get it done today. That's what he always said. But this is how he's always been. So those are the things that we learn and we develop over time. And so that's why the 2190 is really important. And Eminon, I have to shout you out for that because, yeah, I knew 21 days forms a habit, but what I didn't know is the formula for it. I didn't know there was a mathematical formula because the mathematical formula makes life simple. You see causation? Because, and here's the effect. Apply this mathematical formula and the effect will be new lifestyle. So you see, habits form the lifestyle. I always give you the analogy of the thief. Any thief worth his salt is going to case the joint. Why is he going to do that? Because he's watching your lifestyle. He's watching your habits. Because when you watch the habits of someone, you learn who they are. They become predictable. So you see, your habits are very telling. That's why we have to choose them. Yes. Yes, you can build more than one. But you must be organized to do it. Definitely. You gotta have that thing crystal clear because you have to know what you're doing. Right? I trust that makes sense today. Because it is a beautiful thing when we become aware of what we're doing and we choose our behaviors instead of having behaviors chosen for us. Because the body will always take direction. It will. That's its design. But you better be the one to give it direction, or else you don't know who's going to tell it to do something. So it better be you. Are you in good hands? Those good hands should be yours. There. Now, let's see. It's 6:36 for me. That means when I'm finished here, I start the intro for meditation because today is the last day of the gratitude meditation. That's what it is. And so now I have to build a new one for March. I think we will have to, I'm not sure what I'm going to name that one yet for March, but it'll come to me today because I have to put the tuning fork in. David, where are you? Are you still in here? I have a beautiful 528 hertz tuning fork. And I've been taking your suggestions. David and then somebody else suggested, oh, but we love rain in the meditations. And that's great. But there's a habit I want you to build for yourself. See, when you train the mind to listen to rain, now you always have to have that to help you sleep. But if you lay there and you are the one who takes control of your body by doing the technique of, here's how we do it. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, and you allow every system in the body to relax because you tell it to. Now you can put yourself to sleep at any time without any tool other than you. It's all about the habit you create. But I understand the ambiance. So I'll be building that. So that's what I do here. So I have it laid out. Believe me, it didn't always start that way. It didn't always start that way. But I had to formulate something to keep me organized so that the habit of being organized was started. See how it works? And then I say, fine. Well, then every day I will do auditions for half an hour. I'll peruse and I'll do a half an hour of auditions. Why not? So you see, one thing at a time. As long as you're organized, it'll all fall into place for you. So I look forward to getting your emails. I didn't see Tracy this morning. I look forward to getting your emails so that we can get her done and start what we finish. Finish what we started. Start, finish. Start, finish, over and over again. Exactly. We grow as one because we are one consciousness. I love you all. And I look forward to getting your notes. And again, today, if you want to be part of testimonials, email me there as well. And I'll send you the link. If you're a little bit shy, share your testimony and I'll tell it for you. But the encouragement is to be bold. Right? That's what it is. Okay. So I will carry on with the morning and I just popped my shoulder. Yikes. It felt nice though. That's what we'll do. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you this afternoon, 3:45 Eastern Standard Time. Yes? Yay! And for the others who did not make yourself known in the chat, and for all who will catch the replay, I'll see you. Peace.